Hello and welcome to the Golden Sports Report, episode 65. I'm Andy,
I'm Dylan.
And I'm Chris.
and that was not rehearsed, and you see how smoothly it goes when it's not rehearsed. So, on this episode, we're going to talk about the NHL Conference Finals and the NBA Conference Finals, as both sports are in their conference final phase. The NHL has had game one in both series already, but we will give you a preview. And in the NBA, one series was already started today, but we'll try and give a preview of that. As you know from March Madness, basketball just necessarily isn't our forte. So we'll see how this goes. We're gonna ride it out for the month, year, and do what we got to do. So first, I guess we should talk about the East because that happened yesterday in the NHL. Montreal Rangers. Give your opinion on the series. What your prediction is. I know Carey Price got hurt yesterday. Maybe you include that in your prediction and things of that nature. Dylan, I'll let you go first.
All right, so the East. Rangers Montreal. I expected this to be great. I expect this to be a great series. It's just started. So I I didn't see the game at all. So most of what I'm going to say is looking more forward at it instead of what happened yesterday. And really, I expect that both of them, the teams, I feel like they're kind of structured somewhat similarly. Excuse me. In that they both have a very good goaltender and Carey Price from Montreal and Lundqvist in New York. I didn't know about Price's injury. Still don't know anything about if that's serious. I guess he's uncertain for game two, and that certainly hurts Montreal if he's unable to go, because then it's Budai, who's not bad, but he's not going to get you to a Stanley Cup. So I have to stick with my pre-round prediction. I went with Montreal in 6 games, and with the Rangers already having taken one and Price possibly being out, it looks a little bit cloudy for now, but I can't change it after one game. So I'm going to stick with that. I think both teams will play well, and whoever wins is going to have a tough opponent from the West, I think. So we'll see how it goes. Both teams have been pretty hot, and except Montreal wasn't that hot in game one. So I still do believe that Montreal can take the series, but that's mostly contingent on Carey Price being fine. So hopefully he remains in and helps keep the series exciting.
Yeah, the game yesterday was pretty shitty. Chris, what's your prediction and analysis of the Montreal Rangers series?
Well, looking at the stats, I didn't get to see it. Um, but anyone who can score 7 goals and in a playoff game and limit the other team to just two, got to be doing something right. So um, I thought Montreal had the better chance, but with Carey Price out, I'm not sure the full extent. I was reading a little bit, but it didn't really give me much. If he's out, I don't think Montreal has any chance. They have a pretty good offense, but their goaltending dodge is okay. But in the playoffs, it's all about having every position to, have being strong, as strong as it can be. And they've got good defense, they've got good offense, but then the goaltending sucks. So Uh, Rangers, good offense, good defense, good goaltending. So unless Price is back in, I'm gonna have to say Rangers might take this one, and at least a few more games. I'm sure Montreal will win one. Unless Price comes back, I think this all comes down to Price. So yeah,
How many games do you think it's going to be?
mm, right now with the uncertainty of Price, I think it'll end in 5 games, maybe 6.
Yeah, it has that feel. This series after Price went down, it feels like that Tampa Bay series where Bishop was literally the key to Tampa Bay's success, and without him, Lindback could not do anything for them. And it looks as if a similar thing is going to happen with Montreal here, the beneficiary of Tampa Bay's mishap. Price, the injury didn't look too bad when it happened. I saw it. I watched the the first half of the game, I'd say yesterday. And the Rangers dominated them offensively in the first period. Sure, they had a lead, but the lead did not show how badly the Rangers dominated the Canadiens. It was a real poor showing by them. And then after Price went out, you know, 5 more goals. Well, after Price's injury, 6 goals went in. It was 1-0, and that's the thing. I don't I don't see this going past 5 games if Price doesn't come back. If he does, you know, it the one game that they'd have to win is game two. I think if they lose game two, they're going to lose very quickly in this series because I don't see them taking both games at MSG. Lundqvist is a phenomenal goaltender, best one in the world, some might say. So that's a thing. It's not going past 5 games, in my opinion. So that's the thing. The other series, the big the two teams that, at least in my opinion, are very superior to the East team we just talked about. The Kings and Blackhawks, they played game one today. If you watched that game, give some insight on that. I watched it, so I know I'll have something to say. Uh, and give a prediction and analysis of how you feel that series is going to go. Chris, you can go first with this one.
Um, well, this is the first we got to talk about LA at all after beating Anaheim. Uh, Correct?
Yeah.
And Sean's not even here to relish in the fact that his team blew it. Did Tony Romo attend the LA Anaheim game? I think so. Because that's a thing. That's a phenomenon. Tony Romo shows up to games and the team that's supposed to win just jokes. Okay. Anyways, while I did want LA to win the Anaheim series, I want Chicago to win the LA Chicago series. And they won today, so they won 3-1. Looking at the stats right here, Brandon Saad scored, Duncan Keith, John Tays, and Tyler Toffoli scored for LA. Go Toffoli, but they've got all their guys going. They got their captain scoring. That's good signs for Chicago. So the guys who should be performing are performing. Pat Kane scored the series winner against Minnesota in the last game. That's something you would expect out of him. So, I predicted that when we first did the playoff predictions, I predicted that Chicago would go far. If they could pass St. Louis, Chicago would go very far because John Tays, Crawford, and Kane are just so phenomenal in the playoffs that they're so good. So I think Chicago could take this series at least at least 6 games. I don't think it's going to go any. I don't think it's going to go in 5. Might even go to 7.
Yeah, it looks like it'll be a very very good series. Just to talk about the game 7 with Anaheim real quick, that was probably the worst game 7 I've seen a team play because they left Gibson out to dry like on the second and third goal. Carter just goes between the defense, gets a breakaway, just outskates Lindholm. It looked like the Anaheim defense was Swiss cheese. Like it was just a bunch of holes. And LA was like, let's just keep going right through your holes. And that's what they did. And they fucked them. So, that's a thing. And they, but, so Anaheim looked really bad. It's not even Gibson's fault necessarily. Like, Gibson got screwed by his defense. His defense was so bad. So, yeah. I'll give my preview of this series after Dylan, but that was my opinion on Game 7. Dylan, you're up.
All right, so first I'll talk. I didn't watch the game 7, but I'll talk a little bit about it. I expected it to be closer than what it was. At first, I thought that it was just Gibson coming back down to earth because he's really young, pretty inexperienced at this point. But as Andy said, the defense really just wasn't playing well. So I guess in a high pressure, I can't talk today. High pressure situation, they just couldn't handle facing the Kings. Kings are a very talented team. I remember saying last week that I expected that the Kings would force the Game 7 and then win the Game 7 because, and I cited Gibson's inexperience, but they've got a lot of young guys on defense too, I believe. So that not the only inexperienced guy there, I would guess. We can't not talk about. I don't want to. I hope this isn't someone's final word, but Teemu Selanne, it's his final career game there. Unfortunate that it went that way. So yeah, but looking forward, Chicago versus LA should be a very good series. Prior to the beginning, I predicted that Chicago would win in 6 games. So I guess I'm going to stick with that. Watching the game today, it was the final score, as I mentioned already, 3-1. Chris already said how John Taves and Pat Kane have been producing. Those are the guys that Chicago needs. And Tyler Toffoli scored a goal, and he almost scored a second goal off the post on essentially an open net at one point, I believe, was in the third period. And we were hoping he'd be traded to Buffalo for Molson, but that kid's doing really well for them in the playoffs. So good move by them to not get rid of him, and he's definitely helping them out here. So I think both teams are good offensively, both are good defensively. I'd give LA the edge in goaltending, although Corey Crawford has been very good at these playoffs for them, for Chicago. But overall, I think that I don't know, there's something about Chicago that makes me see them as the stronger team at this point. So I think they'll continue on and get to the Stanley Cup and face off against one of the other one of the teams in the East. I don't know why I'm being stupid right now, but my brain will start working and things will be okay. And so, and to be completely honest, Chicago is probably the team I want to see get to the Cup the most because in the East, I'm not going to be upset if the Rangers or Canadians are there. I'm not going to be upset if the Kings are there either, but like if I had to choose, I'd say Blackhawks, and I think they will get there.
It it's going, like I said after Chris spoke, it's going to be a fabulous series, and I'm going to be the guy that picks LA, and the reason why I'm picking LA is the they. I watched some of the game today, and during that time they talked to their coach. At the time they were down 2-1, and Sutter said, "My team looks terrible. It looks fatigued, not winning puck battles. It's not playing up to its ability." And they were down 2-1, yet out shooting Chicago. So they're out shooting Chicago and playing better than them. And he said they weren't playing good enough. And it reminds me of the Anaheim LA series. Anaheim went up 2-0, but LA was like, you know, no, LA went up 2-0, but they said, although we're playing better than you, we aren't playing as good as we need to. And I see that that may happen again. The LA may turn it up a notch in game two here. They're definitely the more tired team out of the two right now. And I give them the edge in goaltending. That second goal today, Dylan, you said you watched the game. That goal was such a lucky goal. Like it bounced literally from the ice to the top of the net. Like Quick had no chance to stop that puck. And the third goal, I feel like that has something to do with being down 2-1. It was a 3-on-1. So it's like wasn't really a goal scorer's goal. Like it seemed like it was situational. And it's hard for me to say that I can't pick LA to win this. I think LA is just going to win it in seven. Um, they're so similar, these teams. It's fascinating. Okay, and also a reason why you might never mind, never mind, never mind. I was gonna say something, but I worded it wrong. If anyone could read the chat though, they'd get quite the laugh. So that's a thing. Um, and we're going to talk about the NBA now. We talked about hockey, and this is where things are going to become difficult because we really don't know much about basketball. So, good thing that Miami has this guy named LeBron James on it. And I want to say something real quick about LeBron James. Yesterday, I was watching um, the NASCAR race. And there were 3 LeBron James app commercials. There was an app about LeBron James and his social media stuff, and it was the most irritating thing I've ever seen in my life. So I just want to get that off my chest. Um, so who wants to give their little analysis of how they think the Pacers Heat series is going to go? Game one happened today. Pacers won 1-0. I mean, they're 1 up in the series. So who kind of wants to tackle the Heat Pacers series first? Chris will. Okay.
Well, I can see the defense was strong in this game because there were 107 points put up by one team. Wow. Nice defense. I guess the way this is describing it, the Pacers blew out the Heat, 107-96. That's only 11 points, and 2 points. So that's like new chicken McNuggets. What kind of shirt is that?
Don't worry about that.
What an asshole. Okay,
Don't
so that's like maybe 5 shots, I guess. So maybe even like 3 or 4, depending on how you're shooting this.
so hard.
Mark needs to be on here. Mark's really good.
We have a viewer too. It's probably Mark. Mark, post in the comments things that we should be talking about. We don't know what we're talking about.
Oh god, I feel like shit.
He
I'm
knows
sorry.
he's got the easier of the three here.
I all I know is that he has three of the best players in the league. Obviously, they have the best player currently in the world at basketball, LeBron James, and then they got Dwayne Wade, and I know he's pretty good, and Kevin Hart. I want to say maybe no, that's Kevin Hart. That's a comedian. Wow.
Chris Bosh.
Chris
Oh,
Bosh. That's that. There it is. Chris. I hope Chris Bosh or Kevin Hart don't watch this. Okay. Um, I think that's out of 7, right? This playoff.
yeah.
Yeah, I think the Heat will take it just because they're so dominant. Um, I wouldn't really say that the Pacers blew them out, but I don't know. Yeah, I think the Heat will take it.
This our viewer left too. It was probably a basketball fan. It wasn't Mark. Dylan, your turn to try and describe this mystical game called basketball and Pacers Heat.
Yeah. So bear with me while I try to stumble my way through this sport. But Pacers Heat, they were the top two seeds in the Eastern Conference, I believe, going into the playoffs. So now they're facing off. I guess the Pacers are a better all-around team or a more complete team. However, the Heat have LeBron James, Dwayne Wade, Chris Bosh, Ray Allen. So they have Anderson, Chris Anderson too, or whatever his name is, Birdman. I don't know if he's a starter or bench guy or whatever, but I might have just named 5 players on that team. I'm proud of myself. So Pacers may be more complete, but I'm not gonna come in here and pretend I know everything about basketball and pick against LeBron James. I think he's the best player, or well, debatably the best player there is right now. They did lose by 11 points in game one, but losing game one doesn't mean you've lost the series. That's why there's at most 6 more. So I'm going to go with the Miami Heat in this one, and I'll say 6 games just for fun. Miami Heat in 6.
He's so confident in that prediction. So confident. I'm going to sound like I kind of know what I'm talking about, but I really don't. I'm going to take the Pacers in 6, and it's because now you have to bear with me because I'm going to try and make this seem realistic. But apparently in basketball, a big guy down low to get all the rebounds is very important. The Heat don't have that. The one thing the Heat's always, the biggest thing about the Heat is Chris Bosh is not a big man. He is a soft big man. And by that, it means that he's not going to fight for the ball when someone misses a shot. Now, see, LeBron doesn't miss many shots because he is so good. But when he does, they don't get the ball back. And the Pacers have Roy Hibbert, who is a great, arguably top 2 or 3 big men in the league. So they're going to dominate rebounding and defensively. And they said Paul George proved last year that he is good enough, and this year he proved that he was good enough to cover LeBron James and keep him in check. So I'm going to take the Pacers in 6. They're up 1-0. So that seems like a safe pick. And I hate the Heat, and I hate the NBA for the way that they allowed the Heat to make a super team like that. Actually, Boston did it first, and I hate Boston for that too. So, screw the NBA. I don't like the NBA salary system as much as I don't like the baseball salary system. And that's a sham. So, Pacers in 6. We have a viewer. Let me see. I want to make sure we didn't embarrass the viewer and anger them in case they commented.
He came back.
I know, it's a thing. If you are watching, so if you could comment, so then we kind of, maybe you know more about basketball than all 3 of us combined. You know, first time we ever put NBA in a title.
I'm sorry if we embarrassed you, but we've done just as good of a job of embarrassing ourselves.
This has become a comedy. So, we have another series to do. We're not done. Dylan, you get to do this one first. Spurs Thunder.
Fun. Spurs Thunder. So, again, the number 1 and 2 seeds, I guess. And again, I'm going to go with the number 2 seed, and I'm going to say the Oklahoma City Thunder. I haven't decided how many games yet, so bear with me. Well, I know, I guess Serge Ibaka was injured, so
Chewbacca.
that hurts OKC, and San Antonio's got a great coach in Popovich, but Kevin Durant, Russell Westbrook, it's kind of hard for me to pick against those guys, seeing as that most of anything I hear about basketball is about like those guys or Miami or essentially that. So I think those 2 guys are in themselves are just really good. I think they'll be able to overcome the loss of Ibaka, and I'm going to go with the Thunder in, how about 6 games? Thunder in 6. So, sorry.
Even more comedy. Chris is trying to hide behind a. Well, wait. He's here. I see him. Chris, it is your turn to dissect the Spurs Thunder series.
Well, shit. Okay. Kevin Durant. He's a player. But I don't know. I think I'm gonna go with. Oh, get out of here! Get out of here! I think I'm gonna go with the Spurs. Tim Duncan. He's old. Was he like 50? Goodness. He's still alive. He's 38 years old. Wow. Impressive. Impressive. I know he used to be good. I don't know if he still is. Ginobili. I know he was pretty good. Tony Parker, he's injured, but he's supposed to play. I think the Spurs will lose. because Oklahoma has a younger team, I think, and they're going to be better because I say so. I think we're going to see. Time will tell. Time will tell exactly. You never know. You never know. There's like 5 or 6 good teams in the NBA, and then they all just drop off and they're absolute shit. So, these are the top 4 of those top 5 teams. So they all got to be good. Anyone could win it. Back to you, Andy.
How many games?
4, sweep Oklahoma. Bam.
That, folks, is true confidence. He didn't even hesitate. Sweep right there.
All the way.
Yeah, the top 5 teams in the NBA literally dominate everything that is in the NBA. Like the East, the 8th seed was a team that had a losing record. It was like 37 and 45. It wasn't even close. That's how bad the bottom. Like he got to the 8th seed and they had an 8-game losing record. So pretty shitty. Thunder in 6. I like the Thunder. Um, I guess I like the Thunder. I like the Pacers, but I I tried to get into basketball one time in my life, and I didn't want a bandwagon. So when the Sonics moved to Oklahoma City, I was like, "Oh, expansion team. Here's my chance." And I took it, and I pretend like I was a true fan of the Thunder before Durant got there. But let's just say I noticed a little bit more of what the Thunder were doing after Durant got there. So that's the thing. Durant's really good. Westbrook's really good. Westbrook gets hurt a lot. If he doesn't get hurt, they'll dominate. And Ibaka being out is a big deal because Duncan, although old, is a good big man. Possibly one of the top 5 power forwards ever to play the game. And it is tough. It's like contradictory of my other series prediction where I said big guys you need to win. The Thunder just have such a better skill advantage over the Spurs that they'll make up for it, whereas LeBron James, Paul George was a wash. So that's the thing. All this stuff I'm saying, it's other people's opinions put together. So yeah, 6 games, 6 games, and we're 36 minutes in, and we ran out of things to talk about. All right. Okay. Um. So Dylan, how about the? Oh God, I was gonna talk about baseball.
I know something that we forgot.
Baseball.
What did we forget? No. What did we forget?
In the NHL talk, didn't you want to talk about MVP so far?
Oh my
We've skipped
gosh,
that for 2
Dylan.
episodes straight now.
There we go.
Go back to something that we
Oh
know
jeez.
about.
We are not unorganized. We know what we're talking about, and we know what we're doing. Dylan, you can do the playoff MVP in your opinion first.
All right. So I'm pulling up the stats real quick first. Take a look. But in my mind, when I think of the MVP, there's this one guy. He keeps on coming. He doesn't necessarily have the best stats out of the players at his position, but and it was alluded to previously. But I think that nobody has been more valuable to their team than Carey Price. Without him, I don't think Montreal would be. Well, of course, I don't think they'd be here. Of course, there are obviously better goaltenders with better stats, such as Lundqvist, Tuukka Rask, and even Corey Crawford. But I think those guys throughout the playoffs had gotten more support from their offense and defense on that team. And when I look at the teams, like if you take Crawford away from Chicago or Lundqvist away from New York, or well, Lundqvist is arguable here, or Rask away from Boston, then I think it hurts them less than it would were you to take Carey Price away from Montreal. I know PK Subban's been great for them, but I think Price means more to Montreal throughout these playoffs so far than anybody else in the playoffs, to be completely honest. And we might find out if I'm right if Carey Price is unable to play for the next game or couple of games or the rest of the playoffs even. So we might see firsthand how the Montreal Canadiens can fare without him in net. And so I personally think Carey Price has been the most valuable to his team throughout these playoffs up to this point.
Carey Price. It will be proven. It will be proven. Um, game two's tomorrow, isn't it?
Sure.
Just go with it, Dylan.
Yes. At 8 p.m. on NBC
Oh,
Sports Network.
precise. Chris, who's your playoff MVP so far?
Playoff MVP. Goodness. I think Anze Kopitar is leading in points so far this offseason, or offseason, this playoff series, but I don't think he would be the most valuable. Um, that's up there, but points means, uh, goals, and more goals you get, the more chances you have of winning. But, part of me wants to say him, part of me wants to say Carey Price. But part of me wants to say John Tays as well. And I'm going to go with Martin St. Louis for the Rangers. Um, I think after the death of his mother, just everything, the whole team just rounded behind him. And that team is just explosive. I don't know what's going on. He got traded there halfway through the season, and he is obviously a great fit because that team is just following behind his leadership. Um, the dude's a monster, and he's showing it. He doesn't have a lot of points. He's only got 10 so far in this playoff series. Wow, words, man. In this playoffs, but just because you only have 10 points doesn't mean you're not affecting the people around you. And that's what being a valuable player is. Affecting the players around you and making them play better. Uh, that's why I'm going to go with St. Louis.
Makes sense. I've seen people comment and say that Martin St. Louis death death of his mother inspired the Rangers to, while him coming back and not missing a game inspired the Rangers to play. And then I saw a comment, Dylan knows what I'm talking about. Somebody said something about, oh, maybe they killed her on purpose. I thought that was the most dumb thing I've ever seen in my entire life. And Dylan agrees. He is smiling and he knows. So we're just going to say that was a dumb statement. If that person watches this, it was dumb. And you know it was dumb. I won't say if they were a former host on the show, but they may have been. And with that, I'll go to my MVP. I really want to say Henrik Lundqvist here. I really do. because in Game 7 of the Pittsburgh series, they got outshot 2-1, but they won the game. And it's because Henrik Lundqvist is just such a good goaltender. And I said it before, he is probably the best goaltender in the world. And I don't think they're going to need to rely on him this series, but next in the Cup, if Lundqvist is not at the top of his game, they have no chance. And I think you're going to get that from him. I also, second for me would be Kopitar or Doughty. Doughty's playing a lot of minutes, and he won the MVP in the year they won the Cup, right? Didn't Doughty win the MVP? He led the whole playoffs in points that year, I think. I guess we'll figure that out. I may figure that out. I don't know if Dylan is, but I will. But part of me wants to say Doughty because he's playing like 30 minutes a night. Kopitar has been scoring a lot for LA, and he's providing a force both ways. And it's funny because I do like the player in Dustin Brown, I really do. But also part of me wants to say that Dustin Brown, Anze Kopitar may be a better captain for that team right now. I think for the future of that hockey team, I think Kopitar should be the captain. I don't think you tear it right out from under Brown, but that's a thing. I'm trying to look. They won the Cup that year. Uh-oh. No, he didn't. Yeah, they may have won the Cup that year. They did. He didn't lead, but he won the Conn Smythe. He had 16 points that year. So that was the year they played the Devils. And so that's the thing. I'm gonna go with Lundqvist, Kopitar second, Doughty third. Yeah. So in the comments below, please post anything that you feel is relative to our episode tonight, or something that we may have missed that you'd like us to cover in our next episode. Um, that's the thing. So do it! God damn it! And if you notice the difference between this episode and all the other episodes we've had previously, post down below, because there's a prize if you do. We won't tell you until after you do it, though. None of us can give it away. It has to be a random person that we don't know. So, that's
And then you give us all your information.
Yep. Who wants to do their final word first?
I will.
Chris, you are up.
Okay, hold on. My final word is, well, I got a couple things I want to talk about. First one is about the good old Canadian Football League. Not that it's real or anything, but, you know, gotta talk about it anyway. I was just looking through things to talk about when I found this on the top news list from May 8th. The CFL on May 8th of this year became the first football league in existence to approve video review or challenge plays for pass interference calls. That's a thing. Now, the NFL needs to get their shit together and do this, because pass interference calls are a bunch of bull. We all know it. So, you know, they're like, oh, we're constantly looking for ways to make our great game even better, and I believe we've done that today, but, I mean, does anyone even watch the CFL? I'm sure they get a lot of viewers. They've got a lot of people. Isn't that where J.P. Lossman went? No. Was it? I know it was some other sketchy football league, but... Oh, yeah. It's a good thing we took him before Aaron Rodgers, though, right? Yeah. Oh, shots fired. Shots fired.
Pew pew.
Pew pew. Go Bills. Hold on. Next one. Let me find it here. It is about. Come on. It was about Greg Hardy giving you an update. I saw a report that I think he was. Okay, here we go. Hardy turns in 10 firearms following release from jail. Um, I'm looking at the makes and the models of these guns. I have no idea what any of these mean. Those are a bunch of letters and numbers. But
Is there an
there was
AR in there?
an AR.
Yeah.
No,
Oh
a
no.
Tavor and L1A1. That's a sniper rifle. I know that one. The POF and the ISSC, the SSAR, Highlander, Mossbang. I think I've heard of that one. The Benelli M4. Oh, that's an M4. Looks like an AK something.
All of our Call of Duty experience coming into the real world right now.
Yeah. So, um, that's a lot. That's some heavy weaponry. That's some heavy shit to have just laying around your house. Because the report a couple days ago that the victim got thrown into the couch and he was threatening to shoot her with these guns. That's a thing. Gotta be careful with that. Um. Oh, there's some more stuff here. I can talk about it after Dylan. I just want to read it up here. I just want to read about it here. So Dylan, you can go.
All right, so my final word. I already spoke about something I don't have much experience with in the NBA, and my final word. I can't talk about baseball every time because not everyone's interested. So I'm going to talk about the wonderful world of horse racing. The hours of anticipation building up to the race for 2 minutes of actual running. It's fantastic. And California Chrome, the horse that won the Kentucky Derby, the horse Andy predicted would win the Kentucky Derby. Get a load of this guy. Has also won the Nope, they didn't win Belmont. Belmont's next. I apologize. See, I'm inexperienced here.
Freakness.
They won the Preakness. Coming up next is the Belmont, and they could be going for the Triple Crown. There's 11 horses who have won the Triple Crown before, and it hasn't happened since 1978, although 12 horses have won the first two races of the Triple Crown and lost the third since, so maybe lucky number 13 will see a Triple Crown this year. Not the Triple Crown I'm used to talking about with being a big baseball fan, but it's always exciting, and this one hasn't happened in a lot longer. So, whether you're interested in horse racing or not, it's pretty cool. Could be history, might not be history, but it's something to keep an eye on. The race is not until June 7th, so I apologize that you're going to have to wait all that time until we see the race, but something very interesting might happen. Hasn't happened in 36 years, so never happened in my lifetime. So something to keep an eye on going forward. I'll be sure to update you all as well when we're past the race in a couple weeks.
I'm definitely going to watch that race. History in the making. Chris, did you have more you wanted to say about Greg Hardy?
Just looking here. Apparently, the accuser had a relationship with Nelly, who is apparently a rapper and part owner of the Charlotte Bobcats. I don't know who they are. Obviously, probably maybe a CFL team.
No, they're a basketball team. They're an NBA team. That was a joke, and I ruined it. Then I ruined it. But that is an NBA team. Um,
This is the perfect episode for that mistake.
That was fantastic. Okay, so oh wow,
got your
oh
webcam
wow.
back on. We have to see your face.
Sorry, NBA viewers. Obviously, that team is not in the top five good teams in the NBA. Otherwise, I would know. Um, what else? The Panthers haven't affected the 1.3 mil advance that they were agreed to give Hardy after they franchise tagged him, and he was released from jail one day after the arrest on a $17,000 bond. Whoever said that bond was stupid because he has that like laying in his twin pocket. So yeah, sorry, shut up, cat team.
Ah, the guy didn't know the show. I think what we're gonna do, we're gonna play Jeopardy one day. We're gonna have an episode for Jeopardy. We're going to just have the NBA. One section is going to be NBA team or not, and we'll see how much we do.
I just want to add the Bobcats were a playoff team this year. They were the seventh seed in the East. So they aren't one of the
Do they
top
have a
five,
losing record?
but no. They went 43 and 39, so almost.
Oh my god! I can't believe we have to recommend this show because it's just so poor in NBA knowledge. We look like bumbling idiots, but that's okay because it's for once comical. We'll put this under the comedy section instead of the sports section this time. Um, so my final word is NASCAR. The All Star race, as I said last Wednesday, it happened last night. The winner was Jamie McMurray, and it's funny because he's not like a big time winner. He just won the All Star race one year, so he automatically gets to go in every year now since because he won it one time and he won it again. So that's the thing. And what the big deal was the night before in the sprint showdown, top two finishers and the fan vote winner move on to the All Star race. Clint Boyer and AJ Allmendinger were 1-2, but everyone thought Danica Patrick would get the fan vote, but she didn't. She finally didn't win something she didn't deserve. And Josh Wise won it behind the internet website reddit.com. And I've went on Reddit. I don't know if you guys went on Reddit before, but it's got 110 million people on it a day. And that website sponsored him for this week's race. Reddit and Dogecoin. Dogecoin, if you don't know what Doge is, it is the meme doggy face with so much wow and terrible grammar. However, they somehow made it a currency, and with that currency, they bought sponsorship for his car to get him in the race, which is weird. But the fan vote occurred, and Josh Wise got the most votes. The thing is, he never finished better than 19th in his whole career, and last night he finished 15th. So finally got a good finish. it was nice to see. It was probably one of the coolest things I've seen in sports in a long time because it's a small team. They can barely afford to race every week, and just race, not like race for a win and be like have a good car, just a good enough car to even like participate. And just it's interesting. A 16-year-old kid got behind this team and was like, "Hey, I'll have me and my thousands of shibes and dojis or whatever get behind you and vote for you in." One person voted 84,000 times, which means somebody hacked them. So that was the big thing. Everyone thought they hacked him in, which is a possibility. Someone voted 84,000 times, but still nice to see. So that's my final word. This week they're racing at the same track. They do the All Star Weekend the week before, and then they race the biggest race of the year the next week, and it's the Coca-Cola 600. So I'll preview that a little bit more next week, Wednesday, and yeah. So that was the episode, the Golden Sports Report episode 65. Talks about hockey, and we showed how much we knew about the NBA. And NBA talk will be back when this is over to preview the finals because hopefully, with our trials and tribulations, this show will have a little bit more knowledge going in. I doubt we watch any of the games, though. So, that's the thing.
Maybe we'll try to have a host who
Lighten up
knows what he's talking about.
Yeah, we'll get Mark on.
that. Yeah, we'll get Mark on. Maybe we'll tell Steve to get off his butt and do a show for once, but no. You'll probably watch this, actually, so there's your invitation. So, like, comment, favorite, subscribe. Subscribers are going up, views are going up. That's always nice to see. Comment if you think that we didn't cover something you'd like us to discuss regarding sports. We will more than gladly discuss it in the next episode. And so, yeah. Thank you for watching. That was the Golden Sports Report episode 65. Bye.
Peace out, motherfuckers.
Adios.